Michelle, thank you so much for joining us here today. It's a pleasure to have you on. I'm excited to talk about Persado.
Great. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to talk to you.
I know that Persado is not a startup per se, it's been in business for over a decade, but I'd love to hear what inspired the founding of Persado. Talk us through the founding story and the problem that Persado is solving and how generative AI uniquely comes into play.
Sure. So, like as you're correctly stated, we were founded actually on 12/12/12. And as so about 11, almost 11 years ago, which I guess 12/12/12 resonates with a lot of math nerds, which we geek out about data and we have a lot of mathematicians here. And so in fact, the company is made up of a lot of mathematicians, NLP pioneers, data science experts, but also linguistic specialists and translators as well. And the company came about from Alex V, who is our founder and CEO. He was the founder and CEO for many years of a company called Upstream that did text messaging marketing campaigns. And also Asaf, our co-founder, also that worked with him there, and they actually noticed that they were like a conduit, for sending out marketing messages via text for companies and agencies. That the response rates actually changed when they tweaked the language of the text. And Alex, as a mathematician, sort of grew obsessed with improving that, and he sort of started tweaking it and applying a formula and algorithms and saw it sort of as a science or a math problem. And they started seeing that by tweaking language, you could get people's response rates to change. And so that's how Persado sort of grew out about this, that using the power of language to motivate people to get better conversions. And we're sort of across all channels like email, SMS, push, digital web banners, the web, etc. And over these 10 years, we have developed a specialized knowledge base of enterprise communications. And by really analyzing it and understanding it with our linguists and everything, we know which language, what resonates the best under depending what trends, what times, based on session data, if we have first party data. And so our mission is to use the power of words to better for brands to better communicate to their customers and prospects, which would then help increase purchases as well as loyalty and revenue as well.
Wonderful. I'd love to kind of ask you to imagine a day in the life of a digital marketer who's engaging with Persado, but obviously a lot of other solutions in 5 years' time, right? So we're obviously all very interested and excited on AI's impact today, but let's think forward a number of years. What does that look like, and where does Persado fit in?
Yeah, so 5 years is a really long time because just even think back a year ago, ChatGPT wasn't even mainstream by then. Like so much has changed in the last year on how much generative AI has um, become ubiquitous almost across marketing solutions. There's new companies, new features. Old companies are incorporating different aspects of Gen AI. In fact, yesterday we announced a new product, our Essential Motivation, which I could talk about later. But a journalist from Digiday said, we were one of, seven companies, including I think it was Adobe and maybe Salesforce, that announced products with chat with Gen AI in it. So it's becoming so crazy. So forecasting 5 years is a little hard. I would say even in 2 or 3 years, I think there's maybe running the risk of what maybe I would call multiple AI personality disorder, where customers, meaning marketers, are confused and have so many options. And again, you start buying them and using them, they all sound good in silos. There's so many distribution plugins, CMS, Gen AI, DCO Gen AI. There's no connection to a lot of them. And I feel like it's going to put brands at risk for exhibiting this multiple AI personality disorder. And then you're going to look very disjointed when you're connecting with the customer. So we see, or I see, the future as you want a central repository where you can control the language across your channels, across the plugins. You want to make sure you're unifying a brand's values and your brand's voice to meet the customer at the right moment. We all talk about that, and connect with each customer. Um, and they're at the center. So I've seen a lot of these AI maps, with all different AI products, and they never have the customer at the center. And we feel like the customer experience has to be at the center, and any of the other AI tools you use have to all work together. So we'll have to figure that out. But of course, we think we can be at that central repository. Where we differ from some of these others is we have this 10 years very unique knowledge base of enterprise communications that is proven to understand what motivates. It was a combination of AI, machine learning, and our large language models, and our human staff that analyzed all this data and has been able to leverage it, and it keeps learning. And we, unlike some of the other solutions, we don't use the whole internet as our basis. We just use this database of 10 years of enterprise communications that we have worked with many customers over the last 10 years to unlock the power of language.
I love the concept of multiple AI personality disorder. That's a that's an interesting idea. A different question, who does Persado best serve? Who do you tend to work with? What kind of clients, what kind of size of clients that is the right fit for Persado?
Yeah, so historically, we work mostly with Fortune 500 companies, primarily in the retail space, and also we have a really strong foothold in financial services, travel and hospitality, as well as, we've done some a little bit in healthcare and telco and tech as well. Oh, and and what we just and some of our big customers are like Chase and Tapestry and The Gap, lots of household names you've used. But with yesterday's announcement of Essential Motivation, what we've done is taken this 10-year database and now bringing it more to the mid-market. So lots of other companies, we have a self-service model. It's much more simplified. We've taken all the learnings and are able to generate variants, as you said, per channel. You can either start with your own copy, because we have lots of people who think they're very creative and clever. Start with your own copy, and we will come up with different variants. And based on our database, our knowledge base, be able to come up with predictive scores, so to predict how well they'll perform in the market. And again, we work with, the marketing departments of the digital marketing departments who are using different channels to communicate with their customers. And we're really excited to take all this knowledge and experience and our proven results. In fact, Persado beats human copy 96% of the time. And depending on the channel, the lifts are between 20 to 40% that you could increase your lift, which of course conversion lift will translate directly to revenue. And one of the newest things we have also that we recently announced was dynamic motivation, which focuses primarily on the online cart, which is the last stage of e-commerce. So we're really connected with e-commerce executives at brands who cart abandonment is like 80%. And our solution can increase that revenue 3 to 5% just by changing the language in the cart. So we're not a recommendation engine. We're not going to also offer free shipping or any of the stuff that normally comes along to help you make that final purchase. We just change the language based on, again, if we have the first party data or session data or their browsing history, and it dynamically will serve up what is the appropriate language for that person. And we've seen really great success with that as well.
Very, very interesting. You talked about multiple AI personality disorder. We already talked about that idea and had a bit of a chuckle. But how do you think businesses can best navigate this hype around generative AI today? All the different solutions and capabilities coming to market that are going to potentially be used within the business, the customer experience, how they operate. I'd love your point of view since you've been working in this space now for a while.
I would say so many of the new solutions really focus. I mean, Gen AI is amazing for efficiency, right? It gives you lots, you can use Gen AI and get something written up super fast, like ChatGPT. And so it's a great starting point, right? So, but efficiency will only get you so far. What I think people have to evaluate is also the effectiveness. So, is the copy or the language or what's been generated going to get you to your goals? So, it's not just efficiency, but it is this effectiveness. And how do you do that? And again, we think by really understanding and the language is one way to get there. There's other criteria that people should use to evaluate, how are you going to personalize? How is it going to be integrated? How do you get continuous learning and keep and insights to help you over time, which again, our models do. They continue to learn. And we provide all sorts of insights like what tags or what language is performing well for this campaign versus that campaign versus this audience. And so it's a team effort to keep learning and keep trying different variants to get it across. So I just think people should evaluate across what's the criteria that's most important for them, and not just get on the hype bandwagon of, oh my God, I need to use Gen AI, but really, how is it going to help me achieve my goals for the company?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for your time and joining us here on the live stream. It's been a pleasure to talk with you and look forward to staying in touch. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate it. Have a good day.